Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something so many of us do without even thinking, saying sorry all the time. On the surface, it just seems like being polite, right? But what if I told you it's often a deep-seated psychological shield? Let's get into it. Seriously, think about it. You're just walking along, minding your own business, someone else bumps right into you. And what's the first thing you say? Oh, I'm so sorry. It's almost a reflex. Why on earth do we do that? Well, it's a really fascinating puzzle. And the answer tells us a ton about how our brains are wired to keep us safe. So what's really going on here? While sometimes it is just simple politeness, for people who apologize constantly, that little word sorry is doing some heavy lifting. It's actually a defensive tool, designed to shut down a potential conflict before it even has a chance to begin. To really understand the why behind this, we've got to play detective a little bit. And our first clue, well, it takes us way back. All the way back to childhood, which is where so many of these automatic patterns get started. So there's this key psychological idea called the scapegoat child. This is a role that someone might have been pushed into in their family, where they learned really early on that no matter what went wrong, they were somehow the problem. They were the one to blame, even if they had nothing to do with it. And this is what's so powerful about that conditioning. Just imagine for a second, really internalizing the feeling that your very existence or just asking for something you need is an inconvenience to the people around you. That kind of feeling, well, it doesn't just vanish when you become an adult. Okay, so we've got one piece of the puzzle, our childhood experiences. Now let's move on to our second clue. This one is all about what's happening inside your head in real time. Think of it like having a super sensitive emotional radar. And this whole thing happens in a blink of an eye. It's an internal loop. First, the brain notices every little thing, a tiny change in someone's voice, the way they text back. Then it absorbs that feeling, that tension, almost like catching a cold. And finally, it jumps into action to diffuse the situation with the quickest, easiest tool it knows, a fast sorry to try and make everything okay again. Which brings us to our third and final clue, and this explains why the apology comes out before anything has even happened. It's your brain launching a preemptive strike. And this chart just lays it out so perfectly. Look at the massive disconnect here. On the left, you've got the brain's worst-case scenario, the fear, the perceived threat, and on the right, the far more likely and way less traumatic reality of the situation. So here's the real kicker. The apology isn't about something you actually did. It's a tool your brain uses to try and control something that might happen in the future. It's a way to handle anxiety by neutralizing a threat that, honestly, probably wasn't even there to begin with. All right, we've gathered our clues. We've got the echo from the past, that hypersensitive emotional radar, and a brain that's always trying to prevent a future fight. So now it is time for the big reveal. What is this all really about? Let's circle back and ask that central question one more time. When someone who over-apologizes says, "I'm sorry," what are they actually saying? First things first, let's get clear on what it's not. It's almost never a real admission of doing something wrong. It's something much, much deeper. It's a plea. This, right here, is the hidden message. This is what's hiding behind the word sorry. It's a subconscious request for safety, for reassurance, and it comes from a history where someone else's anger or disapproval felt genuinely threatening. See, this isn't just a quirky habit, it's a survival mechanism that's been learned over time. Every sorry is secretly asking, are we good? Am I okay here? It's a strategy to make yourself smaller, less of a target, because that feels a whole lot safer than risking being ignored or criticized, which may have happened a lot in the past. Just understanding all of this is incredibly powerful. But knowing is only the first part of the battle. So where do you go from here? Let's talk about the path forward. I think the most important thing is to look at this habit with some compassion. Your brain isn't messing up, it's just running on old software. It's trying to protect you from a danger that for most of us just isn't there in our adult lives anymore. Honestly, the biggest first step you can take is just to start noticing. Notice when you say it and ask yourself why. That little pause, that moment of awareness is everything. It's how you start to challenge the impulse, rebuild your self-worth, and finally let go of blame that was never yours to carry in the first place. And that brings us to one last really powerful question to leave you with. If you took "I'm sorry" off the table for things that aren't your fault, what would you say instead? Thanks so much for joining me.